Welcome to Becoming a Sleep Consultant. I'm your host, Jayne Havens, a certified sleep consultant and founder of both Snooze Fest by Jayne Havens and Center for Pediatric Sleep Management. On this podcast, I'll be discussing the business side of sleep consulting. You'll have an insider's view on launching, growing, and even scaling a sleep consulting business. This is not a podcast about sleep training. This is a podcast about business building and entrepreneurship. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Becoming a Sleep Consultant podcast. I'm Jayne Havens, the founder of Center for Pediatric Sleep Management. Today, I want to have a really honest conversation with all of you, because if you're listening, there's a good chance you're thinking about becoming a sleep consultant, or you're in the early stages of your business and you're trying to figure out if you can even do this. One of the most common questions I get asked over and over is, do most people who graduate from CPSM become successful? When people ask me this question, what I think they're really asking is, will I be successful if I sign up? It's a really important question, and it deserves an honest answer. For those of you who know me, you know that I am 100% a straight shooter. I am not one to sell anyone a fantasy. My goal is to prepare you, to set you up for success, to tell you the truth about what it takes, not just in this field, but as an entrepreneur. Because the truth is, yes, absolutely, you can be successful in this field, but it's not guaranteed. Your success is earned. The truth is that in any industry, whether it be sleep consulting, real estate, coaching, law, or even medicine, most people don't actually become successful. I know that sounds harsh, but it's the honest truth. Most people enroll in training programs and never finish them. The people who actually finish don't always implement what they learned. And some people get excited in the beginning and then they vanish when it gets just a tiny bit hard. This is not unique to sleep consulting. Think about gyms in January. Everyone signs up, they buy cute workout clothes, they post on social media about their New Year's resolutions, but by February or March, they're over it. They've settled back into old habits, and daily workouts are a thing of the past. This is human nature. Generally speaking, people are really good at starting. Most are not as good at continuing. And if you want to build a business, any business, you have to be the person who keeps going, even when it feels hard. I always love to share this example. My husband went to law school. Everyone who got in was super smart. They deserved to be there. Each student was taught the same curriculum, they had the same professors, they even had the same textbooks. The school delivered the same education to everyone, but not everyone passed the bar. Some people took the bar once and failed. Some people failed multiple times and gave up. Is this law school's fault? Of course not. Law school equips you with the knowledge, but law school cannot guarantee that you will apply that knowledge for your own benefit. You have to study, you have to practice, you have to learn the material deeply enough to use it in a high-pressure exam. You have to take responsibility. Let's relate this back to sleep consulting. Inside of CPSM, we'll give you everything that you need: an evidence-based and comprehensive curriculum, clear step-by-step methods and techniques, business strategy, mentorship, a supportive community, but we can't make you use it. We can't log in and watch those videos for you. We can't network on your behalf. We can't post to your social media for you. We can't run your business for you. That's your job. You have to decide that you want it more than we want it for you. Now, I want to tell you why this is actually really good news. It's not all doom and gloom. It's good news because most people won't do it. Most people won't finish the program. Most people won't invest time in learning the content deeply. Most people will get scared and stop marketing. Most people will give up after the very first setback or challenging moment. And what this means is that if you don't do these things, if you choose to be the exception, you will stand out. Parents are desperate for help. There are more exhausted families than any of us can ever imagine. Yes, if you hang out in Facebook groups or on Instagram, it may feel like there are so many sleep consultants. But let me tell you that most pediatricians are not yet referring to one. Most preschool directors and daycare owners don't know of a sleep consultant personally. Most OTs, PTs, and speech language pathologists are not connected with a sleep consultant for the purpose of referring business back and forth. Truly, the world is your oyster. If you're good at your job and you're willing to get out there and form those relationships, you will be in demand. You don't have to be an influencer or a celebrity. Some of our most successful grads are operating successful businesses without social media or even a website. So when people ask me, will I be successful? Here's what I say. You can be, but you have to do 3 things. Number 1, commit to learning. Number 2, stay consistent. Number 3, refuse to quit. Let's break these down. First, commit to your learning. This sounds obvious, but it's where most people stop before they even start. What does it actually look like to commit to learning? It means that you don't just watch the videos, you study them, you take notes, you pause and think, you ask questions when you don't understand, you rewatch the lessons that you don't feel you completely own in your mind. When I see students really thrive, it's because they take ownership of their learning. I'm going to tell you a little story. A while ago, I had a student who messaged me constantly with questions. At first, she apologized for being annoying. I told her, you're not being annoying. You're actually going to be really successful. Because every time she didn't understand something, she asked. Every time she ran into a tricky scenario with a practice client, she wanted to talk it through. She wasn't trying to breeze through the course. She was trying to master it. When she started working with real clients, she felt prepared. Contrast that with the student who says nothing, the student who watches everything once at 1.5 speed, the student who submits assignments that are clearly rushed and then panics when a family hires her and she doesn't know what to say. Which person do you think ends up booked out? Which person do you think gets the referrals? Which person makes this their full-time income? It's not about being a genius. It's about committing to a level of mastery that will ultimately lead to your success. And it's not just the sleep training knowledge. You have to commit to learning the business side too. So many people think, if I just know how to help babies sleep, the clients will come to me. Ultimately, you will have to take responsibility for marketing. It takes time, effort, and practice to talk about what you do in a way that resonates. It takes days, weeks, or even sometimes months to learn how to have a sales call without feeling sleazy. It won't be on day 1 that you master how to properly manage your time. None of this is magic, but it's all totally figure outable. If you just commit, if you decide not to quit, I promise you, you will grow. Okay, number 2, let's talk about staying consistent. This is what I call the graveyard of dreams, because so many people start. They do that first module. They write that first social media post. They announce to their friends that they're actually doing this. And then nothing. Because their business didn't explode with their very first sliver of effort, they get discouraged and they quit. Here's what I can tell you about growing a business. If it was so easy, literally everybody would do it. No one would bother with a 9-to-5. It's not supposed to be easy, but all that hard work is absolutely worth it. Parents are not going to trust you with their baby's sleep because you posted one pretty Instagram reel. They need to see you over and over. They need to see that you're consistent, credible, and reliable. That doesn't happen in a week. It happens over months. When it does happen, you're going to be over the moon. That feeling is what's going to motivate you to keep going, one foot in front of the other, day after day after day. When I started out, I didn't have ads running. And honestly, I still don't. I didn't have a big brand that everyone knew about. I was just a mom starting a side hustle with a serious fire in her to grow a successful business. Every single day, I just kept talking about sleep on my personal Facebook, in local moms groups, on Instagram, in DMs, on the phone with friends. I said the same things over and over and over. I'm sure plenty of people ignored me, but some people were quietly watching. And months later, they'd message, "Hey, Jayne, I've been following you for a while. I think we're ready. Can you help?" That didn't come from brilliance or some magic wand. It came from consistency. All right, now let's talk about refusing to quit. This is my personal favorite because honestly, if you don't quit, you will succeed. I've seen so many people with real talent quit way too soon. They had one tough client or they got one bad review. Maybe they had a month with no new leads and they decided, I'm just not cut out for this. But the people who keep going, They learn, they adapt, they get better. They treat failure as feedback, not defeat. I have a Center for Pediatric Sleep Management graduate who regularly talks about how it took her 6 full months to feel like she was getting any sort of traction in her business. She continued to show up even when it felt like it wasn't yielding any success. She decided that she wasn't going to give up so quickly. She was determined to be different from most people. Did she get lucky? No, she didn't. She just didn't quit. So here's the thing about refusing to quit. It doesn't mean that you never have doubts. It doesn't mean that it's always easy. It doesn't mean that you never want to give up. It just means that you decide that those feelings don't shut you down. You can feel discouraged and keep going. You can fail and try again. You can move slowly, but keep moving. That's the only difference between people who make it and people who don't. So when someone asks me, do most people who graduate become successful? I tell them the truth. Most people don't choose to be successful, but you can. You can choose to commit to learning, not just check the boxes. You can choose to stay consistent, even when it's hard. You can choose to refuse to quit, even when you feel like giving up. Those choices are available to you today and every single day. I hope today's podcast topic hasn't scared you off. Sleep consulting is such meaningful and important work. I've seen how it changes families, and I've seen how it changes lives, not just for the parents that we help, but for the consultants themselves. This work has given me a lifestyle that I never could have achieved with a 9-to-5. It's given me flexibility. It's given me limitless income. It's given me purpose. It lets me work from anywhere, and it lets me be fully present for my kids. But none of this happened by accident. It happened because I decided not to be most people. And you can make that same decision too. So if you're listening to this podcast today and you're thinking about enrolling in Center for Pediatric Sleep Management, I want you to ask yourself, am I willing to take responsibility for my own success? If the answer is yes, I would love to have you join us. Inside of CPSM, we have everything you need to succeed: the education, the mentorship, the community. But you have to bring your commitment. You have to bring your consistency and your refusal to quit. If you're ready, you can learn more at thecpsm.com. Thank you so much for listening. Don't be most people. Be the person who makes it happen. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Becoming a Sleep Consultant podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, it would mean so much to me if you would rate, review, and subscribe. When you rate, review, and subscribe, this helps the podcast reach a greater audience. I am so grateful for your support. If you would like to learn more about how you can become a certified sleep consultant, head over to my Facebook group, Becoming a Sleep Consultant, or to my website, thecpsm.com. Thanks so much, and I hope you will tune in for the next episode.